as you said, my name is Justin, and today I'm going to be covering the Accudemia 9.5 update that came out just a few weeks ago. All right, so there are a few new features that were released with this update, including the new audit trail, the media checkout module, the ability to customize the login page for anyone to see who doesn't have single sign-on on their account. Um, there's a new campus menu item, and some minor improvements were made to existing features. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here of the Accudemia software. So this is just a simple demo account that we have that we can usually do for training or anything like that. So the first thing I'm going to cover is the audit trail. So there's a few different ways you can see this in the system, but from the main perspective, it's going to be from administration, advanced, and audit trails. And something else to note with this is, of course, since this is an admin feature, only accounts that have the admin permission are going to be able to utilize this. So it's not going to be for students, tutors, instructors, or anything like that. So with that here, there are search filters on the left side, so you can search by the user. This does include students and tutors, the entity type, which is going to be appointments, student logs, tutor logs, settings, and user settings. And so with that, we also have the type of action. So it's going to be creating, updating, and deleting as long as a period. So that's going to be different semesters you may have created. Common is last 7 days, 30 days, prior months, and so forth. So I'm just going to show you an example of an account we have in here. So all right, so it's going to show for, I'll do last month. So this is this is essentially how it's going to look for whatever the account has done in the system. So it's going to show specifically what they updated, the time and date, and how many days ago it was, and specifically what was changed. So right here, you can see the college setting was changed. You can see that this account created new appointments. They changed some sensor settings. And if you click expand here, it's going to show you even some more details. And same thing for the section here that goes over what specifically was changed, depending on what is over there. So this is something that I think is pretty useful now, because sometimes we get tickets that come in and say that ask us if we can look on our back end of the software and see maybe if a tutor changed something that wasn't previously logged in the system that someone could see. So now with this, you can see exactly who did what at what time. So this is the main place to see that, where you can search specifically by a user. So even if I look here at this account, this is a student and the other one was an admin. So you can see even the student created the appointment, and if they change any fields or reschedule the appointment, you would also be able to see that here. So this is the main place the audit trails are stored. The next place that I can show you is going to be in the admin's personal settings. So if you go here to the name at the top right and preferences, you're going to see this My Settings section. And if I click here for notifications, for example, you are now going to see a new Show History button. And this is also going to show just who changed what in the past. And so it's going to give you this Show History icon here. And this right here, I haven't edited it since we came out with this feature. So it's just going to say, if there's nothing to show, then it's going to say no history found. So this is one place you can see it. And you can also see it if I go back here to the site navigation feature. And the next place I'm going to show you it is going to be the control panel. So this is also going to be pretty useful, especially if there's a lot of admins on the account. You just want to make sure who's changing what setting. So if I go here to general and then just keep it at the college level, and you can click show history again at the top right, you're going to see this show history icon where you can click that here and it's going to show what was changed. So we can see this account changed the college setting and changed the first day to be Monday. Right, and you can also see that it's not just for the general section here, like even if I go to appointments and select that, then you can also see that there's a show history section up here. So you can check all of these settings and see what was updated. All right, another place you can see the audit trail would be in session logs. So if I go here to center attendance session logs, let me find I'm gonna go ahead and find a tutor, or actually, let me search by date. So I can look in the last 30 days. And then if you select the session log, like just by clicking this checkbox here, you're going to see show history right here. So with this, you can see that the student was the one who updated the student log, and when they sign out, it changed and showed their sign out time right here. And the last place right now that we currently have it out is going to be for appointments. So if I go right here to center attendance, appointments, and view all, same thing. If I select an appointment here, you're going to see a show history button right there. So it's going to show you the same um, other data right there. So with this, since it was just rolled out, I would imagine maybe it may come to different areas of the software, such as maybe user accounts or anything like that. Just depends. But as you use it, of course, if you want to provide us feedback, then we always recommend that as well. All right, so the next thing I'm going to cover is the media checkout module. So that is something new where students are able to check out devices or just any media item. So it could even be a book, let's say maybe a phone, any electronic device. So with that, it is also only on the admin side. So it's going to be under administration and media types. So there is another place where you're going to go where I'll show you in a second where you can actually check out the devices. But for here, you're going to want to make sure that these media types are created before you sign out a device. So right here, we can see the type that I have created is a book and a phone. So of course, you can have many different types of books, and you can also have many different types of phones. So right here, since I have phone, you're going to see when you click on it, or as you're creating it as well, you're going to set the name. The checkout period is going to be the default time that the system, when you go to check it out, would have it set to be checked out. So again, you'll see that when I show you how to check it out. And then right here where it says all media must be returned by, you're going to want to make sure that this date is greater than the date that the student is checking it out. So for example, today is March 12th. If this were to say March 5th, for example, and I were to save it, when I go to check out the device, it's going to give an error message saying you need to have a date that's in the future of the date that must be returned by. So now that we have these created here, I can go to center attendance and media checkout, and you're going to see media items. So now this is the page where you can actually check out those devices for students. So you can see I made these two right here, specific iPhone. The ID, you can think of it as maybe even if it was a book, you can think of it as the barcode, like the ISBN. And then, so of course I set the title. The type is going to be what we showed you on the previous screen. Right now, if I go through here, it's just going to be book and phone, which is what I made. You can choose the sensor that it's going to be associated with. And these are not going to be required, but you can also set the shelf. So let's say maybe just for your end, because it is on the admin side, to know where the media item was and the professor it's associated with. And then the checkout period here is also what we had previously set. So to actually check out the device now, if you click on this checkbox here, since the media item has been created, you can click checkout. And from here, you can see the due date. Right now, it's set for March 26th, which is 2 weeks from today, which is that's where the default period that I showed you on the previous screen is going to come in. And then after that, you can choose the student who's going to be checking it out. And then you should be able to just click checkout, and it's going to say that the device has been checked out. And so if you have if you have a lot of devices in this list, anyone that's checked out is going to have this red arrow pointing to the left. And of course, just to check it in, you would do the same process where you select the checkbox here and click check in. And then you can just click check in right there. And now the device has been checked in. And so the last associated piece with the media checkout is the history section. So now with this here, you can see just exactly what was checked out, who checked it out, the student, the time. Um, this right here is the user account, John Doe. So yeah, this is pretty much just the history section for that here. All right, and the next thing I have is the ability to customize the login page. So this is something that was recently added in this new update. So if I go to administration and the control panel, it takes me to this page. And what I'll actually do first is log out just to show you what it looks like right now. So this right here where it says Demo College on SQL 2022, that's like an internal account name that we have set. So that's going to display here by default unless you go in here and change this. So right now, I haven't changed it just because I'm going to show you what it will look like after I do it. And this background image here is a default that we have set. So if I go back here and log in, go back to the administration and control panel, and under appearance and themes at the college level, right here, you can see that the account name is blank. So right there where it says account name will be displayed in the login page. If it's empty, then it's going to use the account name as it is set internally. So I can just set this to be demo college for now. And now the login message is going to be, it's going to be showed right above where you enter your ID and password. And the login right page image, this is going to be an image that you can set to display right there. So if you choose the file, then it's going to replace that stock image and put what you want it to have. So right here, if I just click Save Changes and log back out, you can see now it says Demo College, and the Welcome to Accudemia is right up here at the top. Right, and the last thing I'm going to show you is it's just pretty small. You may have noticed that there were a lot of different tabs up here at the top, so we did consolidate and add this campus icon or message right here. So engagement board, Booksmart, and the campus compass are all going to fall under that now. So it's just going to take up a little bit less space and hopefully optimize the display screen a lot better. So that's about it for this update that I'm going to go over. So I'll pass it back to Rachel.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions specifically about the updates that Justin discussed? You can put that in the chat or unmute yourself at this time. I think looks like we don't have any questions specifically about that, so we can open it up to general Accudemia questions. So if you do have any questions about that, about Accudemia, you can again unmute yourself or put that in the chat. Oh, and Sitlali has a question about, I think about the media checkout. She asks, how far back does the show history go?
Yeah, if you're referring to the audit trail, I think that's probably what it is. It does show, I believe it may show things prior to the update, but from here, I know like from the point of the update on forward, it's going to show everything. So there is no limit to what it can show, because even when you choose the dates, it's going to show every previous semester that you have created in the system.
I have another question.
Sure.
How do we, let me rephrase this. What do we do when there's a class that isn't showing up the professor associated with it? And it
Okay.
looks like the imports are successful.
Okay, I think that we may need to like take a look at on a like one-on-one basis just in case, because I want to like make sure your settings are correct and everything like that. So if you wanted to submit a ticket and allow us access to go into your account, do you know how to do that?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
I've
okay.
submitted quite a few tickets.
Okay, yeah, so it's good. So yeah, if you wanted to do that, then we can definitely take a look at that for you.
For sure. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Any other questions?
I have another question.
Oh, sure.
I don't know what you guys have heard on your end about this, but I'm just curious if this has been on your radar about in California, there's been a change to the educational code, right? So the legislation that provides some rules about being able to collect apportionment for tutoring. And part of the process includes collecting consent from the student to participate in the tutoring and then being enrolled in tutoring as a class. I don't know, it's a pretty big change and a lot of people are looking into it. And I don't know if that's kind of been on your radar. I just wanted to put it out there because people are looking for ways like how to collect the consent and then tie that to their records of tutoring. And I think I put that in as a suggestion some time ago, but this is a recent change. This was like just happened the 1st of February. So just want to put that out there and put that on your radar as a potential update, maybe, hopefully, at some point. So that'd be a really cool service to add on there.
Right now, you could do something with the way the system works. It's you could have like a consent form as a survey in a way. So when they come in, there's like a little basically there could be just like one thing at the bottom that's like, you know, do you agree to this or whatever? And then maybe enroll them in a class after that.
Right, we kind of tried that setup, but I think the problem was that right now with the ADX imports that on the, at least on for us, for some reason on the IT side, they can't the whole report of like tying the logs to the non-anonymous survey results wasn't working out very well, or it couldn't be done.
Yeah, because the non-anonymous survey should basically attach a survey with every session that they come in. So
is the
it
law
can
that
be
they have
done.
to consent every time or just the first time they get tutoring?
So right now it looks like most colleges are asking for the consent each time, because especially if it's a returning student, like say we ask once and they say, I don't consent, but as they're coming in and they're receiving the services, they learn a little bit more about like, oh, this could actually help the tutoring program. And then later on they consent. Unless we give them the opportunity to change that consent, we would lose out on all the other times that they've been tutored. Does that make sense?
So is the law that they have to consent every time in order to receive tutoring or in order for tutoring to be tracked?
They have to consent in order for that all the time, all the sessions that all the time that they attend tutoring, apportionment can be collected for it. So it's not that we have to ask each time. We can ask just once and then just move forward from there. But on our end, it's less advantageous because if they say no, the first time they come in because they just saw a consent and they didn't want to read through it, every session for that student the entire semester would be lost on because we didn't ask again when they got a better understanding about it.
Right. And you could set your survey at sign-in and then also reoccurring. So it could be like every visit. So it's definitely doable in the current system. The one thing that would be a little awkward would be the way that the registration works through imports is they're going to upload their class registration. So you would have to have a supplemental kind of import that ran after those with your like center classes that you're building for this or whatever, if you want them registered to that. So yeah, that's the harder part of it. I think the survey part would be real easy to get that consent. And then, like I said, with or you had mentioned with the non-anonymous surveys, like it's going to be tied to every visit. So you'll know like if they said no at some point or whatever.
I think there was some other issue with it, and I honestly can't remember. So if anything, I'll look back at the emails and then follow up with that.
What about? I think this might be a more like one-on-one conversation, but I'm just kind of spitballing. Like what about having a service that because they just have to acknowledge that they agree to tutoring, right?
Right, so that's how we're doing it right now. Instead of having our service selection where we're like, what kind of tutoring are you here for, anything, we changed that to the select whether they consent to be enrolled in the class or not. So we're having tutors set up a kiosk so that at the sign-in station, the little sign-in stations, it has that information on the screen that shows the information about what they're consenting to enroll to. So they have that information coming in from somewhere. So that's how we're having the tutors do that. So they don't have to memorize the script. But what we're losing out then there is that when, for example, we have a center that does both in-person and online tutoring, and now they have to run as two separate centers because we lost out on the really awesome functions that the service part has, right? Where you can tie as a tutor into like they're doing this service at this time or that other like in person during this time or hybrid tutoring. You know, it takes a lot away having to use the service option in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
I'd
was
like
gonna
to go back to it.
I was gonna say, I think I've heard of this before, but it might have actually been from you. But if it comes up again, we can talk about it. I think like if adjustments are gonna need to be made, we're gonna have to consider like what is the best way to do it that will cover this legally, and also like that any California school would be able to utilize. So definitely we can talk about it further. But yeah, take a look at, you mentioned that we'd talked about doing a survey and there was some issue with that. If you could like just contact us and let us know like more about the issue you're experiencing with that solution, we can dive into this a little further.
For sure, yeah. And well, really what I wanted to bring on, I've for a while I felt like, oh, you know, this is just an us problem, but now that what, like, again, with the change in legislation, I don't know how many other California colleges
is this at
you're
like
associated
this,
with?
is this at, I'd have to take a look, but is this like at the state level,
Yeah,
like
state
any
level.
state college, including universities and community colleges,
Um,
or just like community colleges?
It's state level. I believe it's all colleges.
Okay.
Yes, I believe.
Okay.
I'd have to look up again.
Okay, well, we can, yeah, we can look into this further. We'd want to, you know, make sure we're covering this in a way that actually like is in compliance, so we don't come up with a solution that isn't actually gonna work in the long term. Yeah, so yeah, take a look at that and let's.
The service, using it as the service is definitely more visible because that's displayed in a lot of areas, but you lose that functionality of being able to use the service. So a better option may be having like a course after the service that is I consent or I don't consent, and that would still be pretty visible, and it's not a survey and you're not losing the service. So there's a lot of different options, but the survey, you have to run a report though to get who consented, who didn't. So it's a little different.
For sure.
It's not as visible. You know?
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay, we'll keep exploring our options, see how we can make this work.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more.
Thank you.